Hello, everybody. I'm Leracos.
I'm that numbers guy. I'll be doing commentary.
And I will be running Gauntlet 4.
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to let him explain the beginning real quick here while I get set up.
Yeah, so one of the first things he's going to do is he's going to switch the game into Japanese language. This saves quite a bit of time with some of the text. And then additionally, so he's going to be selecting new game here, but then he's actually going to click continue and then opt not to enter a password. This skips the opening cutscene, but it does have some other weird implications, which we might not get into because most of the time they don't really impact the run. But all right. Yeah, want to do a countdown or?
Yeah, I'll count you down, and time starts when I push start on the no button here. So 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, and as I start out here, I will let numbers go through the basic mechanics of the game.
Yes, so I do think I have a considerable amount of delay, by the way, compared to when we were doing practice. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the general game mechanics. So this is Gauntlet 4 for the Sega Genesis. This was the first Gauntlet game to feature a quest or a storyline mode, campaign mode. So the general goal is there's 4 towers. You need to reach the end of the tower, defeat the dragon. That will unlock the 5th tower, which is Castle. And then once you've gotten through Castle, you win and you get credits. You've got each tower is set up like a maze. So you'll notice these kind of glowing tiles that he's hitting. Those will open up sections of the map. They're known as trap tiles. You've also got these stairs. You've got up and down stairs between each of the floors. And where that takes you out on the floor corresponds to where you entered it. So there's a good bit of routing that goes into just figuring out how to get from point A to point B in these towers. The whole first 3-ish minutes of the run is going to pick up an item called Float Ring. This game also has equipable items. Float Ring is really the only one that we'll see. The others just aren't faster to go get. Float Ring gives you on-demand ice physics. You hit A to toggle it on and off. That also allows you to float over those red teleporter tiles that you're seeing, and a few other types of tiles, but those are not really as important. Here, he's going to go talk to the merchant and purchase a warp wing and a heal drink. The heal drink, its function is obvious. It heals you back to full health. And the warp wing is going to allow you to immediately exit out to the lobby at any time. So he's gonna be using that warp wing to speed up and prevent him having to backtrack all the way. So each of these special pick-upable items, the float ring in this case, is hidden behind a series of traps that require a good bit of backtracking to go get. So there's also another thing that I need to touch on here, which is a bit of this resource routing. You'll notice that he has keys and bomb potions, those blue potions on the right side underneath his health. Managing how many of those you have and where you pick them up is a large part of speeding this game up. So here he'll use the first warp wing, and he's going to go buy another one. That trap that he just hit is the last one that's required to unlock the path to the float ring. So the other major mechanic that we'll probably need to talk about early here in the game is the gimmick tiles. Each tower has its own set of gimmick tiles. In Earth Tower, there are these slow tiles. You'll notice he's moving when he's standing on those tiles, going for the little corner cuts I see.
Just for you.
I always pester him about those because they speed up. You only really speed up if you're frame perfect on every single one, but they don't really lose time otherwise. So he has Float Ring now. And this is where the run really starts. So Float Ring does allow you to go over those slow tiles as well quicker. And he's going to be heading up towards Earth 6, and that's where Earth 7, and that's where the run really starts. If you recall, I believe it was very early in the run, he went out of his way to pick up 2 extra potions, and that will allow him to speed up the second half of this floor by a considerable amount. The second half of this floor is one of the more tricky sections to optimize. There's just a lot of enemies everywhere, a lot of those no-shot tiles, which is a different kind of the tiles that recurs throughout the game. You can't shoot when you're standing on them. Overall, though, this is going fairly well from the looks of it.
Yeah, that was a really clean section. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, that went very well. That extra potion that you pick up does speed things up fairly significantly compared to not having it.
It's rather high health coming out of there too, which I'm happy to see.
Yeah. Almost 1400 is a considerable amount of health to have there. Here at the beginning of Earth 6, he's going to level up his speed stat for the first time. You have a number of stats that you can level up with experience points. You have speed, you have shot speed, which is how fast your shots move, shot power, how much damage they do, melee power, magic power, defense, and health. The really critical one for a speedrun is obviously speed. He's going to pick up some extra potions there. And you gain those experience points by hitting traps. Oh yeah, here comes the first RNG, and he got it first try. That's a 50-50 shot of it taking you to the top or the bottom. We can talk a little bit more later on about how those teleporters work. But essentially, they take you to the closest teleporter, and if there's two that are equidistant, it's a 50-50 chance. If there's three, it's a 1 in 3 chance, and so on. And here there's a bit of a different kind of RNG management. Not really manipulation, because of the way the RNG works in this game. There's no chance of having a step route or anything like that. But he's going to kill those two generators in the middle, because those are very high-level enemies. And by killing them early, he can kind of mitigate some of the damage, or some of the danger of getting stuck up with lots of these enemies. Yeah, and here, if he wants to, he can take a safety heal, which I believe, yeah, he is going to do.
I dropped an input, but...
Yeah, so he'll heal and then purchase another one. Pretty much any time you have a merchant, you have that option of healing and buying a new heal drink. You may not, ideally want to do that in like a world record attempt, but for marathon safety, and the spawn RNG in that bottom section was very, very good. You can spend as much as 30 seconds fighting your way through fronts there if the spawn RNG really gets in your way. You may have noticed kind of a theme of RNG at this point in the run, and it really only gets worse. It's quite funny when Leracos first asked me to work on this game. He hit me up January of last year. He's like, hey, there's this cool game I'm working on. You might want to task it. And I said, well, how's the RNG? He's like, there's no RNG in Gauntlet.
No, it's totally consistent. Works the same every time.
But nope. So coming up here, there's a little trick. It's more difficult than it looks. He's going to try to use Float Ring to go halfway over a trap and deactivate it on the far side to just squeeze between these depths, and he got it. That saves not a huge amount of time, but it does save quite a bit of damage, and it is a lot more precise than it looks. So very good trick there. So we're coming up on the first dragon fight. So like I said, at the end of each tower, you go through 10 floors or 9 floors, and then you fight a dragon. And he'll have methods of mitigating all of the dragon fights and making them much easier to deal with. He has plenty of health here, but he will heal just to be safe and put an extra point in his speed. Now this is very much not intended. I'm just gonna let y'all see what he does here, because it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, so it turns out if you spawn the dragon from the side, you can kind of just squeeze up into this corner, and his hitbox isn't big enough to damage you there. If you do touch the dragon hitbox, it deals something like 200 damage per frame that you overlap the dragon hitbox. But he's able to squeeze in there and kind of just fight him from the side, which saves
that was a
considerable amount of time. Yeah, that was a very, very good dragon fight. Getting kind of the dragon hitbox doesn't hit you in terms of damage, but the wing movement does apply some upward momentum, shoving you back into that corner. So being able to kind of sit down and get as many hits as possible is hugely important. So here he's going to be picking up these potions that are around the dragon. You'll see that text that popped up and the little green potion symbol that appeared above his character on the right side. That's extra magic power. So each dragon gives you a stat up if you pick up their potions. So earth is magic, wind is shot speed, fire is shot power, and water is melee power. Here we haven't seen that mechanic yet. If you talk to the merchant while you're outside of a tower or between towers, you can get a little bit of a cutscene and get a free heal drink and a free warp wing. The thing that we did at the beginning to skip the opening cutscene means that we have to leave and just buy it. We can't actually use that that talking to the merchant technique at the beginning, but he'll get a free one there, and that is faster or about equivalent to going into the tower and re-exiting just because of the load time. So here in Wind, we have the Wind gimmick tile gets introduced, which is the stream tiles. These will apply a bit of random movement to your character every 2 frames. It's not a lot of movement, but if it repeatedly pushes you in the same direction, it can really mess with your ability to navigate the game. So far it looks like it's going fairly well. But yeah, that's not even the worst RNG in Wind either. Like we'll get to that. Wind is definitely the major gatekeeper for having a good time in this game. Yeah, so at the beginning of Wind 3, there's a bit of RNG management again that he does. So he'll use a potion there. Fighting these grunts on those stream tiles, that went very, very well. Fighting those grunt tiles can either be quick or it can take forever because you're just being moved around, and it's horrible. Kind of similar thing going on at the beginning of 4 here. They'll kill that generator. Depending on how these spawns happen, you can wind up fighting a good number of those wizards. That section went very, very well. Overall, Wind is treating him very well so far.
Don't say that. You're gonna curse.
Sorry, commentators curse. It's my bad. I careful how I talk here. Yeah, so... and this is Wind 5. This is the really disgusting RNG that happens. See if he gets it, and then I'll explain it. Ah, no, he got sent to the outside. So there's a small chance of being sent to the inside there, and then he wouldn't have to do any of this where he's fighting these grunts and trying to get past these stream tiles and work his way up to this trap. If you do get sent to the outside, you pretty much always have to go all the way around, and it's literally minutes compared to getting sent to the inside the first time, and there's nothing you can do to manipulate it, especially as Valkyrie. The elf at this point can have enough speed that there's a camera manipulation trick you can do, but yeah, with the other characters, there's just not a chance. So he'll be fighting his way around the outside here, and hoping that at some point he gets sent to the inside. Although, it's really rare to see anything but the first one send you to the inside, and we're not really sure why. It doesn't really make sense with what I know. I've reverse engineered a good chunk of the teleporter related code. It doesn't really make sense, but it's how it is. Oh man,
this marathon luck.
Yeah, this is how the game luck can go. So he's finally on the inside, and he's gonna have to heal here. You know, it's pretty much just how it goes. But this trap here in the middle is the whole reason that he had to go to the middle. And he's gonna be heading to the next floor here shortly. So that's the first major, you know, time save lost gatekeeper from RNG. This floor is probably as good a time as any to talk about the camera manipulation thing that I mentioned. So, like I said, the teleporters are coded to take you to whatever the nearest one is. So if there's only one that's the closest, then it will always take you there. But if you can manipulate the screen, so the character can move slightly faster than the screen sometimes. The screen scrolls at a constant rate of 2 pixels per frame, and once you reach a certain speed value, you do move faster than the screen. You can manipulate the screen position such that a teleporter that's not the intended destination is the only teleporter on screen, or the closest teleport when you hit it. So that will save time on that 7, but there's no way to do that. It doesn't save a huge amount of time compared to doing it the intended way, and there's no way to do it with Valkyrie, or really any of the characters besides Elf. So...
I apologize for the alert too. I have those turned off, and I don't know why they're still going.
Yeah, the thing to talk about here again is those stream tiles. In the center, that center went very, very well, but if you get pushed around by those stream tiles and you get bad spawns, you know, those wizard spawns there are an example of how sometimes they can just chuck out tons of enemies.
Yeah, oh wow. Those guys are really angry there too.
Oh yeah. So he'll be hopefully getting in and out. Yep, he got in and out of that trap without too much trouble from the wizards.
Okay, do not have to go.
Sorry, I lost my place in my notes for a moment here. Yeah, and so he's gonna hit this wizard, heal, or this vendor, sorry, heal. He'll buy the plate armor, or the chainmail, sorry, 2,000 gold, and that's gonna give him +1 speed. So in addition to leveling things up, you can also buy equipment for gold that will increase your stats. Now this floor here is the original inspiration for going for float ring in the route. So he's going to be going down and then using float ring coming up here to skip over 2 teleporters and get to the exit here. If he did not do that, he would need to go all the way up the right side, and then also floating over this. He would need to go all the way up the right side and exit in a completely different way into this floor. So it saves a huge amount of time. So this is 9. This is the other major RNG in Wind. So to mitigate some of that, he's going to be hitting all these potions to kind of soften up the enemies. And let's hope it goes well. So that's 1 out of 4. 2 out of 4.
No dice on the floor.
Oh, rough. Yeah, so if you get sent to the middle, you've got to fight your way through. And it doesn't lose a ton of time, but you can have that happen repeatedly, and the worst thing is that it costs you a lot of health. And the upcoming Wind Dragon can be very punishing health-wise. So now he's just got to pray for the RNG to send him to a way that he can actually get out. He's getting hung up really hard here. There he goes. Now he can get out. He'll most likely be going to the outer edges to pick up some health here. There's also an invisibility.
Oh my god.
What?
I didn't hit the one trap.
Oh dear, that's a problem. Oops.
So much for all that good luck, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even see how that happened. I did get a little bit of
Alright, come on, let me in.
Stutter on the stream, so I missed some of the middle there. Yeah, so this is what can happen if 9 starts to go poorly. Which one did you miss? That one there. Yeah.
And I want to have as much health as possible going into this fight, because even though you're going to see the same tactic as we did on the Earth Dragon, his tornadoes come out at twice the rate, so he can just do all of the damage if I don't kill him fast enough.
Yes, in addition, the stream tiles can push you into the wing hitbox, doing even more damage. It's very, very easy to die if you're not careful on this dragon.
Oh, crap.
I'm on a bit of a delay, so I haven't seen it yet. Oh, yeah, see that 400 health right off the bat from hitting that dragon wing. Do you have a heal drink?
I do not, I used it.
Okay. Yeah, so here, this is going to be really tight on health. Hopefully... too badly. No, yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit too tight.
Oh my god. Frame perfect kill, but he got me.
Oh, that's rough. That's really rough.
That was literally the last hit.
Yeah, that was the last hit. So here, that can happen. So we'll talk a little bit about death. So you'll notice he lost all of his potions and keys. However, he maintains his gold and his experience and his progress through the tower. So with Wind, it is luckily, you do have the ability to
the express.
The express route, sorry. So we'll talk a little bit about the express route. So in each tower, with the exception of Castle, there's a route through the tower, which you can only get into the floor on each level if you've hit the trap that unlocks the exit to that route. So because we hit all of the traps on floor 9, we can take the express route all the way up and go directly into 9 without having to deal with going through all of the floors again. So it doesn't lose a terrible amount of time to die. There is another thing, which we're really not sure how it works, because we've never actually gone and fully tested it out. But sometimes once you've done the cutscene skip at the beginning, dying can remove other things from your character, like equipment and even the coat of arms or the upgrades that you get. So it can be very dangerous. So luckily here, it wasn't as bad. So he'll get another chance at the dragon here with plenty of health and a heal.
I exited a little early too. I want to have this heal drink equipped just in case I float into the wings here.
Yes.
Alright.
So he'll get another attempt at it. And you'll notice even the stream tiles pushing him around there. It's unfortunate to eat that death, but you know, this is one of the more punishing things in the game, having to do this dragon immediately after the Wind 9 floor, which is just tremendously dangerous.
The little bit of menuing I did there before the fight too, I turned down a stat called shot speed because his wings will actually block a certain number of my shots, and by turning it down, I can get it to sync up better with his wings so that I don't have to be moving around and trying to resync the shots.
It's another thing to keep in mind too here. He really has no control where he is positioned relative to the dragon. Between the stream tiles and the knockback from the wings and the knockback from the tornadoes, you're pretty much going into the corner.
I got the super boost too.
Yeah, it saves like a handful. Nice. Yeah, that was just the stream tiles just shoving him upwards at insane speed. It happens occasionally. So now he's going to be heading into the third tower here. He's going to be doing fire next. So he'll be putting a few more points of XP in various places, and talking again to the merchant to get those free resources. And
I have keys.
Oh yes. Good example of that. In the beginning of Fire Tower here. So for the gimmick tile in Fire is these damage tiles. So you'll notice that even though he's not done very much fighting, and he's only a tiny amount into the tower, he's already lost a quarter of his health. That's because the damage tiles that you stand on that are scattered throughout this tower do a massive amount of damage when you stand on them. So the health in Fire is even though it's a very short tower, your health can still be a problem. You'll see he'll juke those just to minimize the number of frames that he spends standing on those damage tiles. The other thing to talk about here is that he is extremely underleveled at this. The game is pretty much balanced, expecting you to have hit almost every trap in the game, or even doing a little bit of grinding, and he's hit less than half of the traps up to this point. So the game is expecting that you'll have double the HP and double the damage pretty much compared to what he has. Also, the game is very difficult to control at these high speeds. I don't think they really expected players to be putting this many points into speed. So he only has one key here, so he may be going for a very precise trick.
Always.
Gets it. Yes, got it. We'll see if he gets it on the way back. He did. All right, so it's a pixel perfect trick. There's a key right there, so it doesn't save much time, but it's super swag. Yeah, so just dodging in between the wall and that door. See that happen in a few places. He's definitely going to be healing here, and then buying another heal drink.
Yeah, that's the only one I will always buy, whether it is a marathon or a world record.
Yeah, you just simply don't have enough health to get through without healing, just because of the damage tile.
I missed a trap.
Yeah, a little bit of nerves happening, but that's understandable.
That cost me like 500 health too.
Yeah, so this coming up here also is the first example of the non-linear routing. So in a lot of places it's faster to just go from point A to point B, but here he's going to be heading down to, or up to floor 7, and then hitting one trap, and then going back to 6 and taking a different exit. And that will open up and essentially skip 7 and 8. So if you pay attention here to the route that he's gonna take through 7, you'll notice that there's no enemies or anything along this path. It's a bit of a hidden path. Just completely skips floor 7. And then additionally, floor 8, blink and you'll miss it. And that's floor 8. So heading into 9, there's a huge amount of backtracking. So he's going to be using potions, bomb potions, in a few pretty precise locations, and also going out of his way to clear out certain spawners. Since he'll be making a trip through this stage back and forth several times, it's pretty much the most backtracking in any single floor outside of the very end of Castle. And also coming up here with the Fire Dragon is the first instance of a different strategy that he'll use for the dragon fights. You can't use the corner trick anymore, where you get up there inside of the little dragon area, because there's an added attack. The dragons get more powerful over time, and there's an added attack now where the dragon will swipe its wings and shoot a beam of energy down. And the energy actually is not the major problem. The problem is that the wing swipe extends the hitbox. And like I said earlier, every frame that you're inside of the dragon's hitbox is a huge amount of damage. So this trick is very precise, and I'm going to shut up and let him do it. We'll talk about it after. Good luck.
Thank you. Excuse me? That looked good.
Just on a bit of a delay. Oh, very close. So yeah, so the trick is he's going to be using pause buffering and some very careful positioning to squeeze himself into a 3-pixel window, and in that 3-pixel window, that attack where the dragon breathes fire is intended to activate when you get too close and shove you back, but it'll activate and not hit you if you're in that window.
Like that.
So yes, just like that. So that is incredibly difficult. Especially, you'll notice he even reduced his speed, and because trying to do it at the higher movement speed may be possible, but it's actually quite a bit more difficult than even
in an actual record attempt. Like, I will do it with a higher speed. It's just so by turning my speed down to 7 is just barely faster than the screen. So where that positions me is 2.5 rows away from the dragon's head. You need to be 4 rows away in order to get that pixel. And it's easier to hit the pixel with lower speed, obviously, because you have more precise movements. So I just take that extra, like, half a row up and use it to position myself more precisely.
Yeah, and he won't actually be able to grab all of the potions here because he's got too many.
Right.
But habit is yeah, so we're going to be heading into the water tower now. He'll be maxing out his speed at this point and buying the Night Shield, which gives him +2 speed. It costs 8,000 gold, but that's going to give him +2 speed. So now he's going to be moving pretty much as fast as he will for the whole game. So the gimmick tile in water is essentially ice tiles. They're called slip tiles, and you're very slippery while trying to position yourself on them. And combined with having the fastest movement speed in the game, it leads to some very difficult movement.
Yeah, you'll see me drifting here before too long. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, so you can see that they the momentum that they apply is somewhat difficult to manage, on top of having speed that is far higher than I believe was ever intended by the developers. Just getting into these little one-tile gaps is difficult even. So there's a bit of a routing change from the original route there early. He's going to be going through this center section.
Wow, honestly, that went a lot worse than it usually does too.
Yeah, this section, yeah, it can go either way, honestly.
Swag stress. And
oh, did you get the diagonal?
I got the diagonal.
Yeah, so setting up right there to hit that on the diagonal, it only saves, like a half a second over using the teleporter to set yourself up. But it's very, very difficult to position on those precise diagonals without having something to line yourself up with. So, yeah, it's a pretty swag strat.
And
yeah,
now we get to play with the RNG again.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so, yeah, here his health is a little bit tight going into this section, so it's going to grab those 2 foods. And here's where RNG rears its head again. Pretty much every one of these teleport transitions is going to be fully RNG, whether he gets stuck in the section or goes to the next teleporter.
Okay, 5 tries is about average these days.
Yeah, that did not go terribly. He's got tons of health running into this section as well. Considerably more than even you might want. So he can just eat all of these ghosts without slowing down, which is good. Normally you want at least 600 health leaving that section, so that's perfect. This floor again is going to have a little bit of that teleporter RNG towards the middle of the floor.
First try every time.
And again, he's going to be doing some health management. He wants to use his heal as late as possible, just to guarantee that he can get to the merchant on water 4. Yeah, so he'll be leveling up here. He can use the float ring there to save a few seconds, just going directly over that instead of having to teleport and then teleport back. The square that it puts you on when you leave the teleporter is based on controller input. So there's a 16-frame window every time you hit a teleporter where you hold a directional input, and if that input is a valid destination direction to exit the teleporter, you exit on that side. So floating over there saves, hitting the teleporter and then teleport back. Yeah, so here... Yeah, he's gonna be... Oh, this actually is not the same as what I had in my notes, so slight routing difference from what I wrote down.
Yeah, Guggensoy actually originally found this extra little skip here. Normally, on Water 3, there's an entirely huge section of doors and key spam that you have to go through, but Guggensoy found a way to get around it without actually having to do it. So props to him for that.
Yeah, so he's able to grab some extra resources as well there. Just a very alternative path through that section. So the might be a little bit short on keys here.
Yeah, no, short one.
Yeah. But this is Water 2, so we're coming up on the Water Dragon. And if you thought the Fire Dragon was difficult, now you get to do it with ice physics. So yeah, this is even harder than the previous thing. You still need to get into that same 3-pixel window, but now you have to do it on ice. So this, I actually cannot do this trick. This is one of the few things that I've never managed to get consistent at running this game RTA. I mostly work on the task, which is very different at this point from the RTA run. But yeah, so I'm just gonna be quiet here. Good luck, man.
Thank you. I don't know if I feel good about that position. Yeah, no, that's bad.
Cool. Not quite. So he'll be making another attempt at it here. Even missing this several times still saves time over fighting the dragon norm. That's how much time this trick saves.
Good starting position, but I didn't move quite far enough. I was about 2 pixels too high.
Yeah, so this is very, very difficult. You'll get it.
There we go.
Nice. I'm on a bit of a delay, so I haven't seen it yet. And
I had a little bit of forward momentum in there going into that, so that would have changed my position by maybe 1 or 2 pixels.
You'll see the stutter stepping that he's doing. That's because your momentum doesn't actually decay while the screen is swiping up and down. So if you have any momentum ice when unpause, that will change how long you need to hold the down button to get into the right position. So yeah, that's an extremely difficult trick, and even just getting it in 3 tries still saves a considerable amount of time. We'll see at the end of Castle just what a normal dragon fight looks like. It's ridiculous. So here he has 1 key coming out of water, which is good. Ideally, he would have 2, but you actually cannot start Castle unless you have a key. You are required to bring 1 key with you into Castle. The other thing he can do here is I believe he'll be buying the Rune Sword for 14,000 gold, which will give him 2 magic and 2 shot power. And that is one of the last pieces of equipment to purchase, if not the last piece. And so, yeah, Castle is brutal. The enemies are as strong as they will be. I mean, just the ghosts alone, taking those red-eyed ghosts do massive amount of damage. The gimmick tile in Castle is what's called confused tiles. If you just hold a directional input, you can cross them with no problem. But if you try to change your directional inputs as you go through these confused tiles, it will apply a random 45-degree change to whatever the direction that you wanted was. So if you say press left, you'll either go up left or down left. And so a lot of the routing for the confused tiles is just like, I just need to go in a straight line, because if I try to change, I might get stuck.
Yeah, you'll be seeing that before too long, I can guarantee you.
Yeah, there's a few places where you have to change, and so it's just a matter of reacting on the fly. And here he's going to be doing the major skip for this run, so should be fairly consistent. Let's see.
Yeah, it takes a minimum of 14 speed, which with Wizard it can be kind of tricky. Wizard only ever gets 14 speed in the run, but Valkyrie gets up to 16. So.
Yeah, so that trick skips the entirety of Castle 1 and lets you take a different route through Castle 2. We actually found that trick in a run of this game by Ratfunk, which was uploaded to YouTube in 2014. It's one of the only real routing elements from that version of the run that still exists in the current run. Yeah, that saves a large amount of time. And that was actually the first known, screen manipulation trick like I talked about earlier. The reason that trick works is the intended destination for that teleporter isn't scrolled on screen by the time you actually hit it, so it winds up taking you much further and skipping an entire the castle. So the layout of Castle is you start on 5, you have to go all the way down to 1, and then back up to 10. And here on 6, I believe at the end of this pass through 6, he'll be picking up some safety potions. We're still calling them safety potions, even though they're actually faster to just get them. There's a spot where you can repeatedly enter and exit a floor to get potions. And having those extra potions where you can just use a lot more than you otherwise would have access to saves a huge amount of time and makes particularly the very end of the run much, much safer. Yeah, so here we go. So this may seem like a bit of a waste of time coming in here repeatedly, but it is actually considerably faster than the alternative.
I shot one of them.
Yeah, it is funny that we call them safety potions. We actually dynamically routed these in just before the previous instance of having this at a marathon, but it turns out that they save a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, so I'd say if it was maybe a minute 10 there to pick all those up, they will save up to like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it is much, much faster. So now we're going to be heading into Castle 7, and this is the start of just an incredibly tangled mess, which is the end of Castle. So just like all of the other towers, you need to hit all the traps on Castle 9 in order to get to Castle 10 and fight the dragon. However, the Castle 9 is divided up into 4 quadrants, and there's no way to access those quadrants from each other. So in order to hit all of the traps, you have to start on 7, go through 8 into 9, go all the way back down to 7, and then go up through a different path into 9, and then you have to do that 4 times. So here he's definitely gonna, he healed and bought another heal drink. just maintaining the safety through this section is very, very important, especially in a marathon setting. Because, again, the amount of damage that all the enemies do and just the sheer number of enemies is incredibly punishing, especially for he is still seriously under at this point. So this is our first path through 8. He's going to definitely be grabbing an extra key here, I believe.
Yeah, right before I exit.
Yeah. I have in my notes in bold all caps, remind about key.
Yeah, I didn't have any. I was one short, so.
Yeah. So this will be the first trip. This will be the first trip into 9 here. This will be the right side fighting the grunts, and having these extra potions in 9 is really where a lot of that time saved from the potions comes from. And then I'll be heading all the way over to the left side to fight the wizard section.
All right.
And then bottom side to fight the demon section, and then finally the top side to fight the ghost section. There's also a few places in this whole runaround where he can he'll use 2 potions. Yeah, just judging by the in-game time, the in-game time is actually quite accurate. It does not include menuing or level transitions, but other than that, this game runs at a buttery smooth 60 FPS. So the in-game time is very accurate, and yeah, his in-game time is quite good right now. So yeah, more points into health at this point. There's pretty much no other stats that he just needs to survive.
Oh my god, they let me out.
Yeah, that was...
Now I'm waiting for it to get its revenge later.
I know. So here on 7 again, this is going to be a chance to access should he... so desire. I believe he will be, judging by his pathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that allows him to use that heal drink, purchase another one, and you know, you may not do that in a world record attempt, but as you saw with Wind, you know, the game can very, very quickly just kill you with you having nothing to say about it. He'll also grab that invisibility there. I don't think I talked about how the invisibility works. It's pretty simple. It just turns off the enemy AI, so any enemies that have random movement will still move randomly, but they won't path towards you. They won't attack you unless they're facing you. It makes things quite a bit easier to deal with. So now he's hitting the bottom section, where he'll be going through the demons, and again, potioning to trivialize them.
There's my bad RNG.
Oh, yeah, the confused tile's getting in the way a little bit there, but overall, still a very good section. And now he'll be working on heading towards the top of 9 for the ghost section, which will be the last trap that he'll need to hit. Along the way, it may seem like he goes out of his way a little bit here on 8 coming up. But one thing that we didn't really talk about, because it hasn't been important, is once you've hit all of the traps on a floor, every floor has 4 traps. Once you hit all 4, if you re-enter that floor again, all of the enemies and spawners are removed. Yeah, getting a little bit hung up in the center section. But he'll be entering 8 here, and once he hits this trap here, he could just directly go to 9. But he's going to go around and hit the last trap on 8, and then, you know, have to fight his way through all of this stuff. But that means when he comes back to 8 again and has to make a longer pass through 8, there won't be any enemies to get in the way. And this does actually save time, even though it seems like you're going quite a bit out of the way here. It's better to deal with it now while you have access. And this right here, Goodbye Ghosts, is the #1 reason why those safety potions save time. And if you don't have 2 potions to kill those ghosts there, you need something like 3,500 health to just tank all of them. And it's unrealistic. It saves a huge amount of time. And yeah, coming up on the final boss here. I'll explain a little bit about how the final boss works. So you have to shoot those. You'll see them right now on screen. The gems from each tower. You have to shoot all 4 of them. Each one has its own timer, relight, and if any of them are lit, you cannot damage the dragon. So, yeah, once he starts this, I'm just gonna let him fight it. Quite difficult. So. And this is what a normal dragon fight would look like, minus, of course, the gem mechanic, if you did not have the tricks to make it easier. Like, give you an idea of how much time is saved by those tricks. So he's moving quite carefully here to manipulate where the dragon shoots. He's getting a little bit of trouble with these crystals kind of being out of sync. And that's the first phase, so that's going to give him a chance to get a couple of free hits and resynchronize the crystals to a degree. Again, the timer for... Yeah, it's quite difficult shooting him at this range and also manipulating the positions of all of his shots. And, you know, making sure that you don't die, of course. This dragon has a lot of health, and there's nothing you can do other than just fight him because of these crystals. There's no real trick. But coming up on, yep, third phase now. Almost done with this dragon. Fight's going fairly well, honestly, other than the missed shot.
Wow, okay, the third phase went really, really well.
Yeah, no, the third phase went excellently. I'm still seeing the last few shots. But there we go. Yeah, and it's not the game. It's not the game yet. There's a few more things to happen. So we didn't really talk at all about the plot of the game, but there is a bit of plot coming up, along with the single most important input of the run. So there's a few dialogues, and then in the next room, it's going to ask him if he wants eternal life. Then he has to say no. If you're just mashing through the dialogue and you hit yes by accident, it invalidates the run. So hopefully, see. There we go, he did it, yay. So then there's also gold 2. So this is the second attempt at gold. Look, explain it.
Got him,
after.
got him. With 400 health left,
Oh, excellent. Oh man. Oh, there you go, okay, I just saw.
So,
yeah.
To explain what you're seeing here, this is the same trick we did use on the previous 2 dragons. However, he doesn't have knockback in this fight, so if I'm standing in the breath, I am just dead, almost instantly.
Yes, and also, this is not, like, this is almost like a true ending Easter egg type of thing. If you don't kill this dragon before these torches relight, you're just stuck, and you cannot exit. If the torches relight after you kill him, you're just stuck, and you cannot exit.
Time is coming up when the screen goes black here.
Yeah, so he'll be heading out the bottom, and then that's time.
And that's time. Okay. So, overall, that was a pretty decent run.
That was a 37-something in-game time. It's fairly solid.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect that to be a PB by any chance, because there were some really bad portions with Win 5. And, of course, then the Wind Dragon death. But that's just win sometimes. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, that's the castle was excellent in that run. It was really crushed.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how castle went there. That was a really good castle. I think probably the fastest I've had yet. So very pleased to have that.
Yeah, it looks like the real time was like a 7:17 on the timer. By the way.
Nice. All right, well that's gonna do it for us. Thanks for having us. This was a lot of fun. I'm happy to be showing it off again. Happy to be running again. Sure gets my blood boiling sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this game it can be really, really brutal. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for having us for sure.